Hello, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome. Welcome to Kayaking for Autism's channel. Just for giggles, I decided to load in the old Biodome from last year, and it seems that this older dome that has 10 times as many polygons has a much better frame rate than my new Biodome that has a tenth as many polygons. Now, why is that? Well, if you look at this one here, you can see that I've got loads and loads of stuff everywhere, right? And they reached a point when basically I couldn't really work anymore on it, I don't think. I think I just wanted to try and make it have fewer polygons. But it seems to me that fewer polygons doesn't seem to really be the issue. It seems to really be the number of materials that you're using. I'd like to quickly show you basically how the old dome was made and compare it to how the new dome was made. So this is more of a development vlog. Also, you'll notice that when I was thinking about this old dome, the VTOL bay that I was working on, it just wasn't big enough to fit Starbug in, so I made a much bigger one in the new one. But I'm going back to basics to figure out, where did I go wrong with the new dome? Why is the new dome so chuggy? How can I make the new dome run a bit better? These sorts of questions I'm trying to ask, and I'm going right back to basics. And I looked at that developer's blog of how they made the vertical assembly building, and it turns out that basically the old way of me doing the dome of just one 204.8 by 204.8 texture is exactly the way this new VAB is made. In actual fact, my way is actually superior to the old way the VAB was made. And when I started trying to say, oh, well, I've now discovered bump maps and I've discovered materials now, actually, all those draw calls are making the whole thing go chug, 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 chug. And I tried to save memory and stuff. Okay, I'm going to show you the other dome in a second. Hang on. Okay, welcome back. Let's have a look. Yep, that's working fine. Ding. Now if I go into Paint, a massive file open, I'll show you how the old dome was done first of all. So there we go, old Biodome, Biodome develop dev, no, parts, and we look at Biodome textures. So as you see here, I had a load of different, just a giant sort of like super texture with all these different things on it, and actually it ran really well when I was doing it this way. Admittedly, I still had more space to fit more stuff in, but I then decided to say, oh no, well I want more materials, I want to have emissive lights and things. And if I show you how I've been doing the latest dome by comparison, where is it? And I show you, where was it? No, of course it is. Libraries. So as you see, I've got things like base eggshell, which is just this tiny 32 by 32 bit image. And if I go into Unity, I compare the two. So I go Unity here, and I look at this one here, compile materials. The old Biodome, it used one material, right? Even though it had a ridiculous number of polygons. Yes. If I go File, Open Recent, and I say Biodome compilable low res 1, okay. And if I go Object Mode, ding, everything. I've used up a total of 23,000 vertices, so I've done what I wanted to do in the first dome. I've managed to reduce the polygon significantly, and I managed to use things like shaders to save loads of what I thought was going to be loads of memory, but ended up making the performance worse. Now if I say open, and I go to where it is, old Biodome, Biodome developer blev, Biodome 15 blend. Okay. Now this one, by comparison, object mode, yeah, notice that, 134,000 vertices, so we're talking 6 times as many polygons in this dome, and remember that the plants look like triangles, and the trees. Well, I tried to polygon every single leaf and everything. And you know, instead of having just a square with a transparency on it, I had a polygon-based airlock doors, and also the design of it wasn't as good. I mean, I like to have this internal docking bay as opposed to this giant post box sticking out of it, and a VTOL bay that's bigger and comes up the whole way of the dome, and the dome's much taller. I don't know. I miss the old dome in some ways. It was fun. It was a good experiment, and I sort of want to do the best of both worlds now. Okay. If I go back to Unity again now, and I go File, Open Scene, and I go to what is it? Biodome low res. Don't save. Okay, and here's the new dome. Okay. Right. If I say compile materials. Now you can see here I've got how many different materials. I've got one for airlock hood, one for airlock, one for airlock shroud, one for biodome. So we're already on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 46 separate materials. Okay. Now, it seems to me that maybe what I should have been doing is I should have just been thinking, sod it. I should be sticking to lots of polygons, small number of materials, not loads of materials, small number of polygons. I mean, I had some nice ideas just to try and make the exterior of the dome wall look a bit better, and people complain about the textures and, you know, the shaded, grated mesh here. So now I've come up with an idea that sort of implements the best of both worlds, which is, okay, what if I want to keep the polygon count low, but at the same time have a reduced number of materials, so I don't have to have a massive arrays of grids and things like that, and I don't want to change one thing. So, you know, if I change one bit of material, obviously if I go, like, I don't know, gangway, where is it? Gangway there, right? And if I change that tile into 10 by 10, it changes everything because it's the same material, yeah? There's no way of being able to change it, isn't there? Right or wrong? Well, I've come up with an ingenious plan, which is this one. This material here is an idea of an image that you can sort of paste now. Hello, we're in Blender at the moment. I'm giving you guys a little demonstration on how to put 10 UV wraps all from the same image. Why do you want to do this? Well, because if you have lots and lots of materials, it makes the game go chug, chug, chug. You get the idea. So here's how I've done it. I thought back to that old game from the 80s where we had the ball rolling round. And I decided to do a 2048 height by 256 width image. And I'll show you some of the progress I've done so far. I've drastically reduced my materials count. Have a look at before and after. I mean, this bit here was using the old material, okay? And I was using just a separate material. I was saying to all of the promenade rails, changing the tiling manually in Unity, and having an extra material, asked for an extra draw call, which increased the drain on the CPU or the GPU or whatever, ultimately causing the game to chug. This here has been done using this tile texture I've been telling you about. So if I show you this in this mode, oops, that, okay, edit mode. I've done it all in strips, okay, and all of these strips are lined up with cube map onto here, and I'm in the process of just aligning them just perfectly, and you can see that this one here is not quite right. So if I go to texture mode and I go rough rotate and I go shift left a bit, no, you don't want to rotate it that way, you want to rotate it in this one, don't you? Or was it this one you wanted to rotate? Shift. Shift, rotate, there we go. How's that? For some reason they're not all perfectly aligned. And then you've got this one here. I don't know. Shift, rotate it round. Ah, so you see here? So as soon as I do that, it becomes obvious how I'm doing the UV maps. Use the shift key, and nearly there, nearly. There. How's that? You might argue it doesn't look amazing, but it's certainly very cheap in terms of processor power. And here's one I done earlier with the airlock shroud. This one here looks much nicer because instead of having to try and manually move the lines around, I simply had a cube and I subdivided it loads, and I merely aligned up all of these strips again. Edit. I'll go back to solid again. You can quite clearly see that there are lots of strips again. And obviously on this back side here, which I don't really want you to see because it's on the inside of the airlock hood, I just had one big plane, so it's optimized. You see, the one I'm rather proud of at the moment is the where is it? Object mode. This one's not bad. Not that one. Is it that one? Is it that one? That one. Okay. And the object, just texture mode. Yeah, we want to go there. I like to use edit mode and click this. Anyway, if you want to do this technique, this experimental 10 UV maps in one image, Offset 09, edit mode. You will need to basically do them all in strips, at which point you're only ever repeating in one axis while you tile your images down in the other axis. It's not possible to do it any other way than this, and if you have something to the side of this, it'll get repeated in the tile, so you have to be careful where you place everything. And it's also important that so that you get all the scale and everything right, that you cube map it. So if I choose a new one, and I choose this officer wall here, okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that material. I'm going to go edit mode, and I can choose my ST Biodome stripe, okay, and I go cube projection, go for grab. Now you'll notice that the top of this is clipping here. So how do I get around that problem without having to, I can't repeat up here, can I? No. You will have to increase the polygon slightly, but it's much better than having to use arrays, because arrays will drastically increase the polygon count. So if I click on this one here, and I say subdivide, and I go to map point editor, remember that on this way, on the x-axis, I don't have to increase any more polygons, but it's only on the y-axis I do. Oh, bang, okay. And then I don't know, I might I might increase that up to there. Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll go back to texture again. Ding. And ding. And go U, cube projection. Go for grab. Now I kind of like to have this white trim right at the bottom of the door. So I like to have that about there. Okay. And then this one here, obviously, I like to think about, well, you know, you want to zoom in just so that you can align it perfectly. And then for the perfect alignment bit of it, you go G, Y, and then you just use the Shift key just to perfectly think about, well, where do I want it? So I think he comes up to here, doesn't he? So maybe we'll think about maybe, I don't know, does that look alright? What's wrong with that? How about that? I think that looks pretty good, if I may say so myself. Maybe you might think that because there's a line up here, you might want to think about now, I don't know, go yeah. Well, you can't go any further up than that way, can you? You can't go any further down than there. Which gives me a brilliant idea for you know, an elevator animation, but oh well, I don't think it's going to be very good. Obviously on this side you've still got it, it's a little bit problematic, because obviously you haven't done it on this side also. But we've got a cheaty way of dealing with that. So what we can do here is we can say to this one, delete faces, okay? If I say to these two, and I say duplicate, grab X, okay? Now so that we can reduce our pinpoint count, click this one and this one, click these two, Shift, Alt, remember Shift double right click, Shift double right click, oops, don't have, only select the 2 points that you want to join at the end, so right click, Shift right click, Alt M at last, okay? And then finally the last thing you do, because if I go back to texture at this point, I go back to texture, you can't see anything that's transparent. And why is it transparent? Because the face is facing the wrong direction, and a face can only face one way. And you flip the direction and bang, suddenly you can see him again. There we go, that was nice and easy, wasn't it? So I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this way of doing lots of repeats, lots of tiles, without having to use up too much memory, without having to use up too many materials. Tell me what you think of this idea and how I could improve upon it. I mean, particularly when, you know, something like this floor here where I haven't got the splits mathematically precisely in